Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, happy Memorial Day, first off, to all of you. And hopefully you are enjoying your well-deserved days off from work as well. But what's going on, guys? This is the Club with the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of last night's long but great show, I personally thought, AEW's Double or Nothing 2022. It took place last night, May 29th, 2022. And it took place at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We got a lot to talk about on the show. I don't want to be up here like super duper long. I mean, decent amount of time, but not super duper long, because I do have other things to do today. So I am going to, try to be effective, but I also really don't want to, be up here too long. But let's talk about this. We have a lot to get into, of course, starting with, we'll just save it until we get to the opening match. But we got to talk about the stuff with MJF that happened over the past 48 hours, and where he may stand with the company, as well as that was crazy chaos or whatnot. And then, of course, the rest of the show. I was definitely worried going into the show. When I did my Dynamite review on Friday evening, earlier in the day, early Friday evening, I was hyped. Then when I saw how many matches were on the card, I got stoked a little bit. And I think my excitement went down a little bit. I was worried a little bit because I thought the show was going to be too long. And then, but I think the rumors I heard was, I think Tony was trying to push off the main event until after the NBA Finals. The NBA playoff game, I think it was. I heard the rumors of. So he inserted some of those matches at the last minute, like the Mixed Trios tag match and Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly. Couple matches that I felt personally could have been left off the card and just saved for an episode of Dynamite or Rampage. I think I heard he put those in there to give a match, to give an excuse for the crowd to just catch their breath, relax, and, cool down from. Which I understand. I don't think, though, we can get as lucky to still have an effective show, because the middle portion, I would say when we got to the two Owen Hart Cup Finals matches, and then, the other matches, I think the two Owen Hart Cup matches and the two last minute matches was the cool down period, it felt like to me. The last 3 or 4 matches, though, especially that Anarchy in the Arena match, this crowd came alive. If it wasn't, of course, for Punk and Hangman Page, being the main event with the world title, I think that Anarchy in the Arena match should have been the main event. Well, then again, it would have been, not a happy ending, basically, to the show, but let's always face it, not every single pay-per-view can have a happy ending. They just can't. They can't. So, I thought, the card got structured well. I understand now why they added those extra matches. I don't think we can get away with that every single time, to be honest, because it was a long show, and I had to drive 45 minutes to get home last night. So I was tired. I slept late today. I had other things to do, and I do this because I don't have any other time the rest this week. Being engaged, you're a busy man. Let's just put it that way. But I'm off to a really good start with getting all that stuff figured out right now with my fiance. So, and of course, we did have some surprises. We did have a debut that finally happened. We have, looks like, another tag team being formed with Andrade El Idolo, which congratulations to him and Charlotte Flair, who both celebrate, I shouldn't say both, who the lovely couple did celebrate their wedding this past Saturday, so congratulations to them as well. And we had one new champion crowned. I definitely thought we were going to get another new champion crown, but we did not. And also we have the first ever Owen Hart Cup Foundation tournament winners crowned as well. Unfortunately, the people I put in the main introduction and ending backgrounds did not win those titles, even though I really only picked one of the two to win in my predictions. But we'll talk about those matches for sure when they get to them. There's definitely some stuff I want to focus a little more time on, and others, like I said, if I get a little rushed, like, oh my god, I got this done, I just have other things to do today. So let's check the live chat, and we've got Mark in the live chat. Yes, what's up, Mark? He says that tag team dream match sucked. I believe he's referring to the Young Bucks and the Hardys. We'll talk about that, of course, when we get to that, because the first portion of that match was off. But the last portion, I think it picked up. But we'll talk about that for sure. But I completely understand why you think that. I thought we were going to see a heel turn. Me too. Well, we did get one. We had one. We'll get to that in a second. A tease of another one, of course, which may not go where we thought it was. But one that I thought would happen, and a lot of us thought would happen on this show, did not happen. We'll get to that. Congratulations to the Power Couple. Yes, indeed. Yes, that debut. Talk about that. And he feels bad for Ruby Soho. Personally, I do too. I do agree with that one completely. But I can't remember if I mentioned it or not in my Double or Nothing preview and predictions. But it still could lead to something interesting, in my opinion. But let's talk about it. Also, and thank you also for those who did stop by with my 5 live reactions I did last night. I know Joe originally wanted to do live reactions for the whole show, but I couldn't do live reactions for the whole show, and I'd rather have them a little bit more broken up too, in my opinion. But let's roll in and let's talk about AEW's Double or Nothing. I did not get to watch the buy-in. I was at my fiance's. I had dinner with her family before I went to my friends, and it was like about an hour and 15-minute drive from her place to his place. So I unfortunately did not get to watch this buy-in match, but I heard it was good, and Hookhausen, the team of Hook and Danhausen, won. It sounds like, I guess, Danhausen, when he jinxes people, he's able to win, but if not, he's, gullible and can easily be beaten. But of course, then there's Hook, who just is basically like the next Goldberg. People can see like how he is. They seem to be a very hot act, for what I'm hearing, a hot undercard act. So you won't be seeing them on the buy-in for too much longer. Maybe not. They definitely could be future tag champs. Let's wait and see. I'm still comparing them to Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne. You got Hookhausen. I mean, not Hookhausen. You got Danhausen, who, is just more of like a character gimmick, and he's the entertaining guy. Then there's Hook, who's just a serious, badass, like the Pete Dunne was when they were in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. It's a pair that I do enjoy. So, yes, Hookhausen wins on the pre-show. Alright, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to this opening match. I'm not sure. I think I'll start with, what happened this week before we get to the actual match. So the match that opened up the show was MJF and Wardlow. This match, though, almost did not happen, from what I heard. This ended up being somewhat of a work, but I don't think it was meant to be, a work to, get more eyes on this feud. It seemed that Mr. Maxwell Jacob Friedman went into business on his own this past weekend. So Saturday, I was hearing reports that MJF, I guess there was like a meet and greet and, like a fan fest or whatnot for Double or Nothing at the casinos and whatnot. And of course, stuff that people would pay money to see. MJF was advertised to be at that event doing like a meet and greet and signing autographs. Which, when you hear something like this and how good MJF is, MJF, I don't know Max personally in real life, I haven't really heard interviews. I don't know if he is a for real asshole or not. But apparently he does, he basically stays in, if he's not a for real asshole in real life, he stays in character very well, even with autograph signings. Which, a guy who is great at generating great heel heat like MJF should do. It's like, has anybody ever been to, like, I'm not sure where it's, I know there's one in Vegas, I know there's one in San Antonio, Texas, because I went to the one in San Antonio when I went to visit my sister when she lived in Texas a couple years ago. Has anyone ever been to a restaurant called Dick's Last Resort? It's one of those restaurants where it's like, the people who work there are supposed to insult you for the entertainment, which some people at first did not realize. I know when I went there, there was a couple young kids that walked up thinking, "What are they doing here? Like that? This is not a place meant for kids." And when the waiter started insulting them, they got up and left. My sister, the guy she was with at the time, and we actually were like trying to make conversation with our waiter, and we were saying, "How do you like interview a place like this?" He was like, say like we can't really discuss that or whatnot, but he was like being reasonable. But yeah, that's how I felt personally. MJF, I feel personally MJF plays. Like, MJF could easily be like a manager. I mean, I'm not saying he should be working at a restaurant, no, but someone like that is what I think with MJF. He's, even like when he's, doing meet and greets and whatnot, he seems to always still be in character. He did not show up. And then reports came out, because MJF apparently has been frustrated with his contract. The reason why, he wants more money. And apparently Tony Khan has had meetings with MJF saying that he wants to give him more money. The problem is, though, he needs MJF to extend his contract 2 more years for him to get that money. MJF does not want to do that. He views that more as like a contract extension instead of getting an actual raise. And I get it. MJF, needs... I agree. MJF, to me, may be the best heel in wrestling today. I mean, yes, he's like The Miz, except a much better booked Miz. He's all about a microphone. In-ring ability, he's not, the big, fancy, wrestling maneuver guy, but, again, with his microphone skills and just his psychology and tactics, it's what makes him the best. So I agree. He does deserve more money. The problem is, he's in a bind. Tony Khan's in a bind. To me, it's just one of those things where it doesn't, mutually you understand both sides. Personally, for me. I don't think, MJF is wrong to feel like, even though I'm thinking, well, you're still making, how much more money? It's still a lot of money. I wish I could make that money. MJF, though, thinks he's worth more. He wants more money. I'm not in the entertainment industry. I'm not in the wrestling industry. I'm not in the sports industry or whatnot. I'm not in that industry. Again, maybe not in the industry. I'm thinking, what am I going to do with all that money? I'd like to have that money, but I don't need all that money. These guys, they want their worth to be recognized. They want, MJF thinks he should be being paid like the draws, like the punks. And MJF is a draw. This feud with Wardlow has been a draw, and it is a star-making feud. We've created a new star in Wardlow. But before we get to the match, but again, Tony Khan has his reasons. I think both men are reasonable on both ends. But, of course, MJF not showing at an event where fans actually did pay for him is a little not unprofessional of him. If he would not have shown up at Double or Nothing, because that's what people were worried about, because he did have a flight. Apparently, a flight was booked for him to go back to Jersey. He was supposed to land back in Jersey at 6:30 in the morning yesterday. He did not get on that flight, though. I think he realized that if he would have walked out and not, showed up for Double or Nothing, that would have hurt his chances of, of him, that would have hurt his chances of any other wrestling company sign him if he really wants out of AEW. And it's not that he wants out of AEW, he just wants more money. Like, that's the thing. People keep saying, it's just like Sasha Banks and Naomi. It's like, no. Unfortunately, it's not, respectfully. Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out because of their creative. WWE offers them everybody a buckload of money, but it's like you're getting a lot of money, but you hate your job. Here it's like you love your job, but you want more money. So if MJF would have not shown up last night, it would have made him look horrible. Like when the bidding war starts for him in 2024, you know WWE is going to be offering him a buckload of money. A load of money. And I still think Tony Khan can reciprocate, in return. But I think MJF, again, just feels like if it's just a contract extension, that's just him just getting a contract extension, not really a raise. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm pretty figured out how this match went, which the match is exactly what it needed to be. A squash match where MJF basically did not stand a play. Because here's the thing. Because originally, before I put the contract stuff together and read the reports, I thought, well, because my thing with this feud was, though, is they did a lot of things similar to what they did with MJF and Cody Rhodes 2 years ago. But it was like it had the opposite effect. 10 lashes. Didn't work for Wardlow at all. The steel cage match, they had, instead of just Cody just beating Wardlow clean, Wardlow, Wardlow still beat Shawn Spears clean, but he got, the biggest Achilles thorn out of his side whenever Shawn Spears actually hit the chair shot on MJF while inside of the steel cage. Because MJF was a special guest referee. He got around that. And this match is going to be like a glorified squash match. And then, of course, you think with the idea that, MJF realizes he has no way else to hide from Wardlow, a big scary monster guy who's going to be smashing you with a, hitting you with power bombs left and right. And if anyone's going to be getting a lot more power bombs, it's MJF for all he's put Wardlow through. Then you think you try to find a way out of the match. So if that was the idea originally, just for him to, get the speculation that he may not show up because he doesn't want to fight, he wants to avoid Wardlow storyline-wise, that's brilliant. But the fact that, it's because of his contract, and again, he basically stood a lot of people up who paid to see him at the meet and greet, yeah, that's where I went, okay, it was a work, but it was MJF going into business for himself. But he did the right thing. He showed up for work. He fought Wardlow. And Wardlow, kept teasing and was like, no, it's not enough. He hit MJF with 10 power bombs. Enough, of course, to have MJF carried out on a stretcher, which I was waiting for him to give the finger. But I love the part where, MJF tried to play some mind games at the beginning. And it's clear on camera in the middle of the ring, he's like, don't worry, I have my ring, I do what I always do, and then basically Wardlow behind the referee was like, you ain't doing that, basically. And then MJF was just dead after that as Wardlow powerbombed the hell out of him. So I'm pretty sure to get this whole issue settled, or whatever is going to happen, this is all, the stretchering out was a way to kind of probably write off MJF off TV for a little bit. Maybe a month or two, maybe not till All Out, maybe. Who knows? But something's got to get settled with him and Tony. Again, like I said, it's just one of the things where it's like, you respect both sides, which I understand where both of them are coming from. It's just they're having a hard time meeting in the middle right now. So, we'll see what happens with MJF. But Wardlow wins, and of course, afterwards, he personally is now signed to AEW, and not just working through MJF. Because that was the storyline before. Wardlow is just working through MJF. He's not working for AEW. But now Wardlow, with the emotions on everybody in the crowd on Wardlow is officially all elite. After a 2-year journey, I believe it was, Wardlow is officially signed to an AEW contract. So congratulations, Wardlow. Star-making match for sure. It was exactly what it needed to be. And hang on one second, guys. I gotta go grab a tissue real quick. I'll be right back. right, we are back. I just had to grab a quick tissue just to blow my nose real quick, but yeah, that's... Leave your thoughts about the war, about the MJF situation. Again, at first, I'll be honest, and let me just say this at first. Before I read the reports, when I started realizing more and more that it was a work, I, of course, was getting very sour about it. I'm like, oh, and I'm reading, all these comments about, AEW is, just going to be like the next TNA. They're going to, do good for a couple years, then they're going to go to the shits because this is not happy. It's like, there's how many people on the roster? Not every single person is going to be happy. It's, and it's the complete opposite. WWE, why does a lot of people want to leave? Creative issues. AEW, we've had Cody Rhodes leave. And here's the other thing, too. There's these reports coming out also. I got to rant about this for a second. That people in AEW are seeing how Cody Rhodes is being booked in WWE. And they're looking at that as a reason to go to WWE because they can get more money. I'm not sure if that is the whole point behind it, but oh god, that made me sick to hear it. Because, look, I can respect Cody Rhodes for going back to want to accomplish something in a... he's going back... If Cody Rhodes went back to WWE maybe like before all these releases happened, do you think WWE would make him a world champion? I still don't think they would. I don't think they would. Cody Rhodes went back and he saw that as an opportunity for him to be world champion because there's nobody else there. But he's not doing it. I mean, yes, he's goal-driven. He believes he is the best wrestler in the world as he thinks he is. He deserves to be world champion, yes. It's still that, he sees the opportunity to be a big fish in a small pond. But he wants to... I think he's not fully trying to come across as some, egotistical jerk. I think he just wants to... He more so... Well, first off, he says he wants to be more known as a guy who started up a wrestling company. He also wants to win the title his father never got. So I can respect that. I can respect that completely. But this whole thing now people are... This whole war people have with WWE and AEW's competition. Yes, we wanted competition, but the politics behind it, it's to a point where it feels like, me talking about wrestling is like someone who's passionate about politics talking about politics. And I can't stand politics. I'm sorry, I cannot. I never like to get into it or anything because it's so divided. With how divided this AEW and WWE, shenanigans feel, people have to go out of their way on Twitter or come onto my streams and bash me for having an opinion, for liking one show more than the other. When have I ever gone on someone else's, or when has most of these people ever gone on someone else's streams or Twitters and done the same thing to them? Why do people get the satisfaction out of just basically just bashing people and criticizing which show they like better and whatnot? But when I read that report and read that, then people are thinking, I'm like, oh crap, no. Because it's going to give another reason for that fire to ignite. But, it's one of those things where I felt like I had to, look into it more before I actually came up here and talked about it. But, okay, not so much of a rant, just a thought I wanted to get out there really quick. But, yeah, let's move on to the rest of the shows. I've already been up here for like 25 minutes. I got places to be today. So, anyways, the next match, a dream match. Well, it's happened twice before, but this is the first time I've ever seen it. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff versus the Young Bucks. And as Mark said, he thought this match sucked. Which, I understand why. I feel like, though, it got fixed. But what happened was Jeff Hardy came out, and he was stumbling a little bit. And that worried people, and they're like, oh, crap, not again. Because we all know Jeff Hardy's history with substances and whatnot. And he was a bit off the first half of this match. And it did hurt this match for sure. I forgot, he did botch, slip on the ropes a couple times. It looked a little like, like something was up. But then apparently what happened was apparently one of his boots broke. So that's the reason why he was stumbling, because he was struggling to try to, work with the broken boot. Someone did come out and fix the boot, and when that happened, things did get better. And I like how this tag match started a trend from, not all tag matches on the show, but a few of them where, the loyalty for the teams was tested for a lot of these matches. I think there was a time where I think the Bucks, super kicked each other by mistake or something like that. Or there was also moments where the Bucks were stealing the Hardys, finishing maneuvers. I think they hit like a twist of fate, and I think Nick did a swanton on Matt Hardy to try and get the win, but it didn't work out as of course it kicked out. But they were stealing some finishers. When it got to that, after Jeff got his boot fixed and whatnot, the match was great. If that would have happened, and also I did a lot of reactions for it, but they were crap because when I got to my friends, we had issues trying to get Bleacher Report working on the TV, and then I had some computer issues as well, so that's what caused a big delay in me starting that stream. So that was a little bit of a messy one, but the second half of this match was great, I thought. Once Jeff got his boot fixed, like the finishers, being stolen, the super kicks, I think they hit like a super kick on each one after another, and then when they did like double super kicks on them at the same time, but it was pretty fancy. The Hardy Boys though do get the victory. I felt they should have for sure, but the second half of the match was great. Can't complain about that. The next match was definitely one of the weaker, probably the weakest match on the card. Probably either this or that mixed trios tag title. Not title. The trios mixed tag match. It's Jade Cargill and Anna Jay fighting for the TBS title. The match was decent. There were a few moments in the match where it did kind of make you feel like that maybe Anna had a chance, but we all knew Jade was retaining. Jade did retain. After the match, though, when Jade and the baddies started beating down on Anna, Chris Statlander came out, and I didn't get to watch the match on Friday, but apparently in the match with Chris Statlander and Ruby Soho in the semifinals for the Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament, apparently Chris Statlander got a great reaction. I guess I haven't seen Chris do too much since she removed like the alien gimmick and is more of herself, but apparently she's getting over pretty good, which is awesome because I've always thought Chris Statlander was a great talent. She was just getting a little bit lost in the shuffle, so a change in scenery was a good move. But I forgot to mention this though. Jade beat Anna off a distraction because the formerly known as Malcolm Bivens, I think it's now Stockley Hathaway, I think his name is. If I butchered it, I'm sorry. He came out, and I guess he's going to be Jade Cargill's new manager now, which is a great move for sure. I think that's genius of them to do for sure and bring him out. He just got released just like a month or two ago. He was under an NXT contract, so he only had a 30-day no compete clause, I believe. So, but then of course Chris came out, and then the music hit. And I'm thinking, okay, this has got to be it. If this is not her, then who the hell is this? And it was Athena, Ember Moon, the one who the WWE was going to basically Serena Deeb her and make her a coach in NXT, has arrived in AEW. Finally. Now, I did hear she had some other, priorities. I believe she is the women's champion of like a smaller promotion, I believe I've heard the rumors of. But she is here, and it was awesome to see her. And you always forget, she's not that tall, but when she is given the opportunity to be in the main event of the women's division, Athena is going to take the world by storm. So she could be the one who takes the title off of Jade. I mean, based off the reaction, they may want to more so have her be the one to dethrone Thunder Rosa eventually. But heck, if they want Chris Statlander to be the one to dethrone Jade, go for it. But it's nice to see that Athena arrived. which is what I probably was more happy about there. What either way it was. But decent match, but it was after the match what more so made this, what was people care about more is the debut of Athena. And then we got this long and coming match, this 6-man tag match with Death Triangle's Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta Oscuro taking on House of Black with Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Long and coming. Yeah, they kind of the last month or so, we didn't really see much of the build for this feud, unless if more of it was on Rampage. And again, I always don't watch Rampage, so my interest shrunk down a little bit. But this was still awesome, great, fast pace, lots of high flying. I think Brody King tried doing a dive or something like that on the apron, and it was crazy. There was a spot in the match where we had Pac and Buddy Matthews. I think Pac hit a Hurricane or a Canadian Destroyer on Buddy, which is awesome. It made me think back to whenever Buddy was in the Cruiserweight division, and he had those classics for the Cruiserweight Championship, or even his matches with Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. Maybe back to those days and thought, man, imagine they would have done, well, I'm pretty sure it would be better now, of course, but imagine they would have done Neville and Buddy Murphy during that Cruiserweight Championship tournament, whenever the title was vacated when Enzo got released. Man, either way though, 1-on-1, I think we should get that match as a singles match at some point. Pac and Buddy Matthews. That would be an awesome match. But of course, excellent, fast pace. At the end of the match, though, it looked like that Pac was about to hit the Black Arrow on Malachi Black to win the match. Lights go out, come back on, and it's Julia Hart who finally turns heel and joins House of Black, spitting the black mist in the face of Pac, and leading to House of Black getting the victory. So the House of Black has a 4th member, and it's a female. And of course, when you have a female in your stable, you really are taken off from there. I tell you what, Dobby, I know there's, it's stacked, but they gotta get a single. I mean, they may end up putting, because I keep hearing rumors of trios titles. You gotta get a title soon on. There's a lot of, trio stables we gotta get titles on soon. So it is tough, but House of Black, my gosh, they're killing it. If they have the 4th member, they're set. You can put the trio titles on them. You can put the tag titles on Brody King and Buddy Matthews, and put the TNT, or even the or I still think the world title. Malachi Black is definitely going to be a world champion someday, but I think especially House of Black, it's time you put some gold on them for sure. But I do see yourself in a live chat, guys. Thank you to Tia Couponer and Olu Car. Thank you guys for coming. And wait a minute. Wow. Apparently Tony Khan did a 2-hour press conference after the pay-per-view. Dang. That has to be crazy. I think it would be Athena or Athena or Chris Statlander ending Jade's streak. She's 32-0 now. Remember, Ring of Honor had a 6-man titles. AEW those? Definitely yes. But let's keep rolling here. This is where I think the crowd started to die down a bit. It's just kind of the breather period. We had Samoa Joe and Adam Cole, first time ever. This match was solid. I know a lot of people are wondering though, did Adam Cole beat Joe a little too easy? I was a little surprised because it looked like Joe sold an injured left shoulder in the match. And Adam went to town on that left shoulder and took advantage of it, which is what led to him eventually, hit the boom on Joe for Cole to get the win, and and Joe to get his first loss. I kind of think, though, Joe, I agree. Joe, I think, sold the injured shoulder a little too much. As I said, which is one of those things where I thought, yeah, I feel like Samoa Joe as a babyface is basically when, he's super over with the crowd, they're cheering for him, and he's facing heels. Like, if someone you want to get drawn the attention, I personally feel Joe's got to go heel. Like, Joe is at his best with selling and just being dangerous, and he is one guy you can trust to be a heel, and he won't be a coward. So, I feel like as I get it, he was the baby face in this match, but I do agree he sold a little too much for Cole. Like, and the only interference we got was for Bobby Fish, but even that didn't really do much at all to distract Joe. Again, it was the shoulder that Joe sold a little too much. It led to Cole getting this victory. So I was surprised to see Cole win as clean as he did. Again, like the distraction from Bobby Fish didn't really impact that much. So, I don't know. I mean, Adam won, which I predicted, and I thought he needed it because he's lost his first couple pay-per-view matches. I just think Joe sold a little bit too much for him. And I get what they try to do with the left shoulder thing, but I feel like Joe could have, toughened that shoulder out. Adam had to go, a little bit, deeper. A little bit deeper than that. And Tia Kupar is right. This was the first time ever match, and it continued from NXT when Cole got revenge for Joe putting him to sleep when Joe came back to NXT last year. But we'll see. But Adam Cole wins, and I thought he should have. Then we have the women's match, Britt Baker and Ruby Soho. The match was good. I do agree with a lot of people, though. This should have been Ruby's match to win. Even though I remember I did say in my preview and predictions, I worried that they maybe had, they didn't seem to give Ruby as much of a spotlight as they did when she first came in for a while. Not saying they've used her bad, but it's just that they didn't position her as much of a must-see person, I feel like. So I felt like that was worried, that maybe didn't feel 100% confident Ruby was going to win. When they had, though, each of the women come out, though, getting their own special entrances, and, the Ruby Soho song being played, I thought, okay, now you gotta capitalize and give it to Ruby here. Well, they didn't. And they went with Britt, and Britt won. Which, I'm not upset Britt won. I think it's pretty cool that both her and Adam won. It was a little odd that they did kind of break character, and even though they're supposed to be heels, they acted like, babyface. Well, they were themselves when Martha Hart came out, said her speech, which was nice to see her have for once. It felt like that closure that wrestling needed to honor the death of Owen Hart. The WWE didn't do that, so they, didn't inspect their equipment. He dies, and then Jim Ross says, "What's the latest on Owen Hart?" Oh, he's dead. Next segment in 3, 2, complete disrespect there. Completely understand why, Owen Hart is not in the WWE Hall of Fame, because the family doesn't want him there. They don't want him to be honored by a company that didn't respect him at all. Respect him enough to not even end their show after he fell to his death. So that was nice to see. And I think it's cool that, Adam and Britt, we all know, that they're a real life couple. They're not engaged yet, which I'm very surprised. Heck, I'll be honest. That would have been a good time to do it, Adam. I'll be honest. That would have been a great time to do it. Both of you sharing, a high note for your careers, but like that would have been, excellent to see. You both, winning the Owen Hart Cup at the same time, which, again, I thought was pretty cool. But I do agree. I feel like this should have been Ruby's moment. I feel like it should have been. Especially when, of course, they had they had, the band playing, the punk rock band that does have the Ruby Soho song or whatnot. I feel like, that was, she felt like a bigger deal when she came out with that. But her moment will come. Now, I can't remember if I mentioned this in my Double or Nothing preview predictions, but someone mentioned the idea of having Cole and Baker win, And somehow, which I understand why they would do it here, because, they don't want to, completely interfere with what the moment was supposed to be about. But even though it was two heels winning, it wasn't about, babyface, taking down the heels. No, it was about honoring the legacy of Owen Hart. So I respect that, Cole and Britt did kind of more so just break character for that. But I know somebody, I can't remember who it was, suggested the idea of, now that, Adam Cole and Britt Baker kind of get like a moment together, and they're also have like that power couple moment, what if this leads to them doing a mixed tag feud with, should be newcomers soon, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae? Which I think would be freaking awesome. Hey, I got my Johnny Wrestling shirt on, by the way. But that would be a genius idea. If this was somehow a way to set up for, like, a mixed, like a power couple feud between the Garganos and Cole and Britt, that would be cool. But, yeah, definitely feel like, and some people wonder if it's because, if they did go with Ruby because she got booed on Friday in Vegas. Only because Statlander was just much more over. So, Ruby was over in this match, but unfortunately Britt got the win. Which, again, not a bad thing, but, I do think a lot of people, I include myself, felt this should have been Ruby's moment. But it was still nice, of course, more so honoring the legacy of Owen Hart. I'm glad to see wrestling in some way got to honor his legacy. So then we're going to keep going here. We have one of the two matches that I felt another match they felt they could, like, the TBS title match maybe, but the moment afterwards was awesome. But this is another match I could have just saved for, like, Dynamite or Rampage. This mixed trios tag match, it's the team of Sammy Guevara, Ty Conchi, who came out dressed up as Maleficent, and Frank Kazarian taking on America's Top Team, Ethan Page, the TNT champion, Scorpio Sky, and Paige Van Zant making her in-ring debut. Decent match. Like, the main focus on this, of course, was supposed to be Paige Van Zant making her in-ring debut. She's got a lot of work to do. She wasn't horrible, but she's got work. She needs work. And, of course, the stipulation was if Sammy and Frankie don't win the match, neither of them get another shot at the TNT title. Of course, though, the big focus, again, as always, was, the horny couple who just make out and just are very public about their private life on social media. Sammy and Ty, who obviously realize that fans have turned on them, and I can't say I have. They're both great talents. I do agree that they're way too they show they're too personal publicly. That's for sure. And I get why, they get a lot of heat. But they're rolling with the heat. They even went as far as, like, that they're basically accepting that they're basically being treated like heels. When they have a spot in the match, when Sammy Guevara, on a miscommunication, super kicks Ty Conchi in the face. The crowd just popped. And Sammy's like, no. He knew that he probably slept on the couch last night. He didn't get the bed. Ty got the bed last night, I think. But that was really the biggest highlight of the match. America's Top Team does win. We're moving on from Scorpio Sky and Sammy Guevara. Be interesting to see what they try to do storyline wise next for Sammy and Ty, because we all know that they're never going to get our tongues out of each other's throats. But we'll see what happens next with Scorpio Sky. Mike, could you compare Sammy and Ty to Edge and Lita? We may very well could. We may very well could, because of how just, yes, it's Ty Conchi. She's not going to deny a hot blonde who, everybody thinks is hot, that they probably wish they could have. Sammy Guevara, though, of course, who's, I remember saying, once he was a single star, he'd be an excellent babyface, and he has, but now that he's having his personal life and his professional life intertwined, is making him a heel again. But, now, I'm never going to deny how talented both of them are, but yeah, they've made themselves heels. and of course I also like how, Frankie Kazarian wasn't gonna, like, he wasn't working with them, but he had to, team with them. But he had to at some point, basically the time where he stepped off and went tag, and he basically told, America's Top Team, have at them, and the crowd popped for it. Was pretty cool. But, that's that match. And then the other more so filler match was Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly. Again, another match they put in more so just to give the fans like a breather period, but I still thought this match was pretty darn good. As I keep saying also, Kyle O'Reilly gave a shot as a single star in the Owen Hart tournament. He put on some really good matches. And like I said, they gave him the shot as a single star in NXT, but I just feel like they never made him feel like a main eventer. But this one, I feel like I'm not saying he's a main eventer now, but he looked great. I loved the counters they did, where Darby went for like a coffin drop, and Kyle just countered into a submission. My favorite one was still, though, when Darby did like one of his like suicide dives, and Kyle caught him and put him into like a Cobra Clutch or whatever the heck it's called. But he basically caught him underneath his armpit. It's like a guillotine. I'm sorry. It was sick. So it was a really good filler match, I would say. And to my surprise, Kyle gets the win. So, I don't think it's going to lead anywhere specifically for them from a single star, but I loved it. It was an awesome match. Kyle, though, wins with like a knee drop from the top rope, but a great filler match. And then is where the last four matches, the crowd picked up again. First, we have this AEW Women's title match, Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, who do have a long history. They faced each other a couple times before, and I do believe Serena Deeb was the one who dethroned Thunder Rosa for the NWA Women's title. This match was great. It was stiff. It was hard-hitting. I thought Deeb looked excellent, trying to, be like, the submission specialist. She's definitely going to become. Thunder Rosa was great as always. Stiff and hard-hitting, but it was great. Thunder Rosa retains the title, as most of us thought they were. I wondered if maybe they were going to put the title, though, on Serena Deeb, though. Because I still feel like, because Serena, I think, was one of the best acts for the women's division when she feuded with Hikaru Shida. I felt like, to me, like I said my predictions, they could have given her maybe like a brief title reign for like 3 weeks and given it back to Thunder Rosa before the Forbidden Door show, or they could have done like Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, and I know a lot of people want to see Kairi Sane or Kairi Hojo be the one to face Thunder Rosa at Forbidden Door. They could have done a triple threat with maybe Thunder Rosa, Serena Deeb, and Kairi. And they could have had Thunder Rosa win the title back right there, maybe. But, not going to knock this match. It was excellent. The crowd did wake up for that. Especially for this next match. Dang. So, I've voiced my opinion for a while, saying that I don't hate the Jericho Appreciation Society. I still don't fully, get it. Because I guess it's more so because I can't get the Everrise taste out of my mouth for 2.0 with Matt Menard and Angela Parker. And, Daniel Garcia, because I haven't finished it yet, but I briefly listened to the podcast with Talk is Jericho, with Jericho Appreciation Society. They sounded like they'd see a lot in each other. And, of course, Daniel Garcia seemed like he's one that people wanted to have him work with them. Like, originally, I think they wanted to have Daniel Garcia go with Bryan Danielson. But instead, I guess Chris Jericho did want to see, him split up from 2.0. So that's why he brought them in. Because I guess originally the plan was for this feud with Eddie and Chris was they were going to make Eddie and Chris like some sort of like a tag team. But then when they both got hurt, and they hear people like hear Eddie like bashing Santana Ortiz, basically telling them that they have history together, but they're saying you realize that you aren't as successful as you are because you've been doing nothing but playing posse for Jericho, which Jericho saw that wanted to roll with it, and especially when he's good. And again, Jericho mentions one thing he thinks he's good at is reading the room. When he notices the crowd was agreeing with it too, he's like, okay, I gotta roll with this. I gotta be a heel again. And that's when, of course, when he saw how Bryan Danielson wanted to have like Daniel Garcia lead 2.0 with him, and Jericho's like, no, I think they gotta stay together, so I'll take them. Which has led to Bryan getting Jon Moxley, of course, and Wheeler Yuta. But I love how Justin Roberts, before he announced the match, this Anarchy in the Arena match, he basically says, ladies and gentlemen, shit's about to get real. And then they brought out the Jericho Appreciation Society, and then the rest of like Eddie Kingston's team came out to Jon Moxley's Wild Things. But the Jericho Appreciation Society didn't waste time. They went into the stands and brawled. And I don't know if the belt even rang, but for a good 5-10 minutes as they were brawling, they still played Wild Things. Blood was everywhere in the arena. I think Matt Menard, bled the most when he was brawling with Eddie Kingston, up in the concourse and whatnot. I think Matt Menard died in this match because the last time I remember seeing him was when him and Eddie brawled in that elevator and it closed, and then Eddie came out. Later on with that jerry can of gasoline or whatnot. And then I know Moxley and Jericho brawled for most of the match. I like seeing that, knowing that they're both really good friends, and they had history when Moxley was the one who dethroned Jericho for the world title back at Revolution in 2020. I remember Danielson brawled with Angelo Parker most of the time. Santana and Ortiz, I think, eventually took out both members of 2.0 with the table shot through with the going through the table. Moxley though brought out a barbed wire board to put across the table, and when he brought that out, and then Eddie Kingston brought out the gasoline, I thought at first they were going to have. Maybe they're going to send, because Jericho is the one who put the fireball in Eddie's face. I thought, what if they're going to put Jericho through a flaming barbed wire table? Oh, that'd be sick. Instead, though, it led to Moxley go through the barbed wire table, and Eddie used the gasoline and poured it. He poured it on Jericho while Bryan had Jericho in the label lock. And I guess some of the gasoline got on Bryan, and Bryan snapped on Eddie, and they started brawling, so they imploded. But that's what led to, to them costing them the match. Because that's when Moxley just got through the barbed wire. He was done after that. He was busted open big time. I think everybody but Jericho got busted open. Even though I think Moxley did throw a full container of something else at Jericho's face. I thought that should have busted him open, but it didn't. But it led to Danielson being double teamed by Jericho and Hager. I think Bryan seemed to have had Jericho in his spot until Hager came back in and used Floyd, Jericho's back, and took and viciously swung 5 times at the left leg of Bryan and took Bryan's left leg out. And Jericho put him in the walls of Jericho. Moxley also earlier, I remember this too. Moxley literally undid the top turnbuckles on the ropes, and I remember they used them as weapons for a bit. Those were violent, and they were even choking people with them too, or shoving the steel part up into the throats. It was crazy. But they took one of the turnbuckles ropes, wrapped it around Bryan's neck, maybe doing a callback to whenever Bryan choked Justin Roberts out with his tie when Nexus debuted. I don't know if that was supposed to be the case or not, but with Jericho doing the walls of Jericho, and then the ropes around Danielson, they got Danielson to pass out and for the Jericho Appreciation Society to win. But this feud ain't over. Oh, jeez. How do you top off over this, though? Eddie's got... the biggest thing is the person that's got to benefit the most of this is still Eddie. Eddie's got to get his win back. And a lot of people are saying, and I agree, blood and guts. At some point this summer, these 10 are going to go at it again. But this time with blood and guts, I think that's where Eddie is going to get the win back. But personally, even though this wasn't supposed to be a match, I mean, it was a match, but it was more so of a brawl. Next to the main event, this was definitely the best thing on the show. But they definitely saved the best 3 matches for last, because this was fire. This match, this triple threat tag title match, was also fire as well. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus took on Team Taz's Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Will Hobbs, and of course the team of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. I love how, again, I just love how all 3 of these teams have like a high flyer. Also, not just a big guy, but a big guy also on each team that could do high flying maneuvers. It was awesome. And my favorite moment, I mean, we had, I think Ricky Starks did like a double spear of some sorts. Basically he like went for the throats of both Jungle Boy and Swerve Strickland. I love, Powerhouse Hobbs did a couple like high rope maneuvers. Luchasaurus, we know how agile he is. Keith freaking Lee. So, I know something about Mr. Lee here. I'm going to compare Keith Lee as his passion for wrestling somewhat, or his excitement, to Bryan Danielson. So, when Bryan first announced his retirement back in 2016, he mentioned how when he comes out and how excited the crowd gets, he can't help but have that slight little smirk on his face. I think Keith Lee's the same way. As I keep saying, Keith Lee, again, it took a little long for them to let him do this in NXT. But since he's come to AEW, I feel like he slowly opens the book a little bit more with what all he can do. To the point where when he's getting ready to do something, people are he knows they got his eye on. People got their eyes on him, and you don't know what he's gonna do. Is he gonna do a moonsault? Is he gonna do like a Spanish fly that he can do on Dijakovic? You don't know what he's got up his sleeve. But anytime he got in this match, and he was getting ready to do something big, he was like, he got a look on his face. He's like, "What do you think's gonna be, guys? What do you think's gonna be, guys?" And that's just no reason why you gotta love the guy. Because he connects with the audience. He wants to entertain. How could you hate Keith Lee? How on earth did WWE not go with what Keith Lee brought to the table? Instead, he had to be the Bearcat, Bearcat, Bearcat. He had to be mean, angry, intense. Like Keith Lee said in his Talking Jerk interview, though, he can't be mean or angry or intense unless he's given a reason to. Again, this man, to the point, was literally asking people to beat the shit out of him before going out to his matches because he needed a reason to be angry. But, oh man. My favorite spot in the match when he did that Tope Suicida. That was his big move of the match. He dived over the rope, did a tope, and it's how on earth can a man that size do that? And also, that maneuver where Swerve, jumps off his chest and does a moonsault, phenomenal. I love that. All 6 guys in this match are someday going to be singles champions. Well, I mean, we do have Ricky Starks, who's the FTW champion. That's more so a prop. But they're all going to be either TNT or world champions someday. All 6 of these guys are freaking awesome. To my shock, though, the biggest shocker of this match to me, though, was Jurassic Express won. I really thought they were going to be dropping the titles where Christian Cage was going to turn heel on them. Especially when Christian did get involved in the match, because, who was it now? Someone else, he had it out for someone else in the match, I think. I think someone that was taunting him, and then I think Team Taz, it was, sent Cage through the steel steps. And I thought that was going to lead to them turning heel. And then, of course, at the end, when Jurassic Express won, and Jungle Boy was sitting on Christian's shoulders, I'm thinking, Christian's going to drop him here, isn't he? Nope. So, not yet, but it's coming for sure. And then, the main event. The most unpredictable match. One of the toughest matches for me to pick a winner for, or to even think what's going to happen with Hangman Adam Page versus CM Punk. This, to me, was another, great wrestling match. But what made this match stand out more was the storytelling, the masterpiece of this. It was just a storytelling masterpiece. The emotion of Punk having his first shot at a world title since Elimination Chamber 2013. That is 9 years. 9 years since the last time CM Punk has had a world title shot. Did we ever think this would happen? Taking on Hangman Adam Page, who's had quite the journey getting to the top, but obviously he's saying stuff like how he wants to protect AEW from CM Punk and what he stands for. And what that stands for is him being a threat to Hangman's title reign. CM Punk, who said this is not personal, it's business. Both these guys, showing heelish sides of them to basically say, it's up to you guys. Who do you want to root for? Who do you not want to root for? And of course, also, the storytelling and the use of each other's finishers play into effect. Mainly because Punk, and here's something I never noticed about Punk until it's been pointed out to me. Punk botched the buckshot lariat twice in this match. But anytime, because I remember, I think it was with his match against Penta, I think it was, when Punk wrestled Penta. When Punk botches, he immediately, bam, oops, bumped my pop filter here, is able to somehow make it look like it's part of the match. We know he botched it, but when he tells a story based off that botch, it's unreal. It's unreal, again, how he moves forward with that and making it look like that. Like, Hangman, of course, reacted to those botches, doing the buckshot lariat and whatnot. And it made the storytelling even more. Then, of course, we get to the finish, where Hangman realizes that he's got to go to a dark side to do what he's got to do. He fears CM Punk beating him, and he's got to go to a dark side in which he grabbed the world title, and he had it set aside. He grabbed the title, and he was getting ready to plummet Punk with the title, which, of course, there was a referee bump where I think Punk had paged up for the GTS, which originally, I think, of course, when Punk had with the second buckshot, he botched it. Hangman kicked out of that. And then Hangman also hit a GTS on Punk. He literally mocked the whole thing that Punk does exactly, preparing for the GTS. I don't think Punk mocked Hangman much before setting up for the buckshot. But Hangman did a hell of a GTS on Punk. And of course, Punk kicked out of that. But when Punk went for a GTS, there was a referee bump, the referee was down, which was where Hangman almost did hit Punk with the title. But then he thought, no, this ain't me. Sets it down, which is what I love. Hangman in his career, I think why he's so over, he has teased how many times of him going to that dark side. And he's like, no, I can't do this. He drops the title, goes out and sets up the buckshot lariat. When he goes for the buckshot, after Punk had, of course, pleaded with him, don't do this to me, hit it with the title. He goes for the buckshot, Punk counters it with a GTS, and Punk wins the world title. Back and forth storytelling, the referee bump, the usage of how they followed up from the botches. This match was unreal. A storytelling masterpiece. And for the first time in 9 years, you never thought you'd see it coming, CM Punk, after only, 9 months of being in the company, 9 months since his return of 7 years from the ring, CM Punk is AEW World Champion. I think he celebrated on the stage with FTR afterwards. Now it's like, what's next, though? Because either of these guys could still turn heel. Of course, obviously, with MJF and with his controversy and him obviously losing some trust, even though he still may stick around, but it's obvious even though AEW wanted to make him champion, they may not trust him as much now with the stunt he had pulled, but they may need a new heel. And either one of these guys can heal it up. We all know Hangman's team's going to heel how many times? We thought he was going to go heel when he cost the Young Bucks that one match right before All Out. We all thought he was going to go heel, of course, as well. Probably until he got super over when he was tag champs with Kenny Omega. He can go heel. And we all know Punk's a great heel as well. So, I think, of course, also, it was great to have Punk win the title here, especially going to Chicago for that, for the AEW New Japan show, and Punk wrestling as the world champion, which will be awesome to see. I know a lot of people wanted to see him wrestle Okada. That'd be cool to see. But the one thing I would say I was a little disappointed with this was there was not really much of a tease. Well, there wasn't much of a tease for any New Japan matches. We got that on Dynamite with FTR and the Ultimate Empire, whatever the heck it's called. I thought maybe we were going to get like someone show up at the end of the show and just tease a match here, but we didn't. But not going to knock it. Excellent show. We also forgot to mention this. Towards the end of the show, we did have Andrade El Idolo basically announced that him and the AFO are no more, and he's a tag team against his old tag team partner, I think Rush, something like that. But there was that. But that's Double or Nothing. Strong review, I thought, on my part still, yeah, with a little over an hour, but I gotta get ready. I got other things to do today, but I will give Double or Nothing an A-. You know, the middle, you know, there was a lot of cooldowns in the middle, which were still good, but I would give the show an A-. I thought Double or Nothing was great. Not as good, of course. Revolution was awesome. I still think my favorite Dynamite show is still All Out, but this was still another fantastic show, for sure. Thank you guys for stopping the live chat, but I don't really have time to read. I do gotta get moving here. But that's my review on Double or Nothing, guys. A-. What were your thoughts on Double or Nothing? What was your match of the night? For me, it's still either the main event or the Anarchy in the Arena match. One of those two for sure. But make sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, guys. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video. Subscribe more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. And of course, now us AEW fans, we are on the road now to AEW Forbidden Door, which is going to be a fantastic show. I'm excited to see that when it comes in a few weeks. We'll see how that goes down. Hopefully, though, it's not 4 hours and 40 minutes, not including the pre-show like this was, even though this did work in the end, but I can't do that many shows go like that again. And like I said, also, especially since it was a Sunday and most of us had the day off today, I can give an exception there, but if it's the night before work, I think we'll be able to stick around for a 5-hour pay-per-view again the night before work, in my opinion. But we'll see what happens next. We're on the road now to Forbidden Door, and CM Punk is your new AEW World Champion. I'll see you guys all later. Have a great rest of your Memorial Day. Eat a lot of food, cook out, have fun, swim. I'll catch you all soon. Peace out, everybody.